So, I don't like calling games must-wins because every game matters. In a 162-game season, while some don't feel like they matter because of the fact that there's obviously context, you're not going to win every single game, and you don't see the effects of losing a certain game until late in the season, you kind of lose that value. But every single game basically has equal value. But today definitely is one of those games where there's a little bit of extra emphasis to win. The Yankees are currently half a game back of a wild card spot, and Tampa is currently beating Toronto right now by about 7 runs. Last time I checked, it was 7-0, and right now it remains 7-0 with a runner on second and 1 out in the top of the 6th, meaning that is Toronto at bat. And obviously, I'm going to sit here and explain to you that you have to win because, you only have 9 games left after this, and they're all against your division rivals. But at the same time, I'm also going to say this because going into Boston with a playoff spot, or currently sitting in a playoff spot or tied for a playoff spot, could change a lot of things for the Yankees. Tomorrow, I believe Toronto is not off, but Boston is off. Obviously, the Mets can help us a little bit by winning today, but the Mets are just not a good team, so I don't see them doing that. The Blue Jays play the Twins with Steven Matz on the mound versus Michael Pineda. Yankees are off tomorrow. Same thing with Boston. And I believe the Mariners and the Athletics are wrapping up a series on that day. So if the Yankees can somehow pull off a win here and they can get Toronto to drop a game against the Twins, the Yankees could have a game and a half swing right there, which would put Toronto outside of the playoffs, not even tied with the Yankees, completely out of it right now, and give the Yankees some breathing room so that there's room for error against Boston. Now, there's no room for error with 9 games left, but it gives you enough where if you take 2 out of 3, you're not out of a playoff spot. If you don't, if the Blue Jays win tomorrow and the Yankees don't sweep the Red Sox, they could be out of the playoff spot, despite the fact that you would consider it a successful series to win a series at Fenway. They would go on to play Toronto and then Tampa, and you have to hope Tampa's clinched the division and everything way before they play the Yankees, and I think they will have, because that would allow the Yankees to face a Tampa team whose season is effectively they're done, and they may not pitch their best pitchers. They may pull something back. If you remember that 2011 season when the Yankees played the Tampa Bay Rays and the Yankees did not really put together their best effort, the Rays won that game and they ended up going to the postseason. They played the best team in the American League East at the time. The Yankees, the 2011 Yankees, won their division. However, because the Yankees had already mopped up the division and won the division, the Rays played a team that was not really putting, they weren't putting CC Sabathia on the mound, they weren't putting, Andy Pettitte on the bump. They were putting, I believe Dellin Betances had one of his first outings in that game that Evan Longoria famously hits a late inning home run when the Yankees blow that game completely. And Tampa Bay goes to the postseason, Boston misses the postseason. So you have to hope for a situation like that. Not where it comes down to like the last game. That would obviously be nerve-wracking. Not that I would complain if we end up coming out on top. But you have to hope that Tampa's really not going to try to do too much in that series. And you just got to handle business against Toronto and Boston. Because if you handle business against Toronto and Boston, and you, let's say, take 4 out of 6 against those guys, you gain a game on each of them, you're going to end up in a situation in which you're at least tied for a playoff spot coming into that series against Tampa, and you may just get an easier opponent in Tampa, a team that really isn't playing for anything, a team that may not want to push themselves because they don't want to risk injury, they don't want to do anything like that, they want to give their team rest. So while the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays, and then Tampa, Red Sox are playing the Nationals, not a good opponent, and the Blue Jays are playing the Orioles, not a very good opponent. So, in fact, all 3 of us are really going to be... 3 of us are going to be playing teams that don't have anything to play for at that point, but the Yankees are going to be playing a division winner, so naturally with the Rays' depth, they will obviously be a lot better than the Orioles or the Nationals. And so, really, you have to take these next few series. You have to win today. You have to put yourself in a playoff spot. And with that being said, that wraps up today's video. It's just a brief discussion, just talking about the Yankees' playoff chances. And when you talk them out, they look a lot grim. It looks very grim. And, the Yankees have no one but themselves to blame. You don't lose a series against Baltimore. You can't lose a series against the Cleveland Indians. You can't go out there and, choke a game that you could have swept the Orioles, and you'd be in a playoff spot right now if you didn't blow that game against Baltimore. I'm not even talking about winning a series against the Orioles. I'm not even going to talk about winning a series against Cleveland. You win that one game that you should have absolutely won. And you are in a playoff spot right now, and it looks a little bit better. And you're talking about being 2 games up in the wild card, and you're talking about going into Boston 1 game back and with a chance to tie, and you're talking about going to Toronto, maybe up 2 games with really needing to win 2 just to bury the Blue Jays completely out of it and make it so that the Yankees are guaranteed at least a game 163. But the Yankees didn't do themselves any favors. The Yankees really put themselves in this spot, and that's how big of a difference that 1 game was made. So if you want this team to make the playoffs, they have to win today. They have to win out. They have to do everything they can do to win, and it starts today. Sweep the Rangers, beat an inferior team, because if you lose today, I would say the Yankees aren't making the postseason. So with that being said, that wraps up today's video. I love you guys very dearly. Thank you for the support. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ryan, out.